You receive a letter in the mail. On it, there are instructions on how to build a working time machine. What's weirder is that it's in your own handwriting. For a second you consider it. Had my future self really sent this letter back in time to me? But you quickly dismiss that idea. It must be some sort of prank. Maybe someone copied your handwriting, or you decided to pull a prank on yourself. You know that you can't even remember what you had for breakfast yesterday, so it's entirely possible. But curiosity gets the best of you. You go out to get the supplies and begin building the machine, just to see what it will do. Finally, after many months, you finished it. You now have what is supposed to be a working time machine sitting right in front of you. You activate the machine just to see if it works, and to your shock, it blows up. It was a bomb. You built a bomb. Why would you do that? You just barely survive, but now the government is after you, because you're a terrorist. But as you're on the run, you get to thinking, what if it had worked? What if that really was from my future self? How did my future self learn how to time travel? It must have been from their future self, right? Then where did that information come from? This is a very poorly explained example of the Bootstrap paradox. You may have heard of it, but in case you haven't, here's a more famous example. Say you invented time travel, like the smart cookie you are, and you're a huge fan of Beethoven's music. So you decide to travel back in time to 18th century Germany to meet him, and you bring along all of his sheet music in hopes that he'll sign them. But once you arrive, Beethoven is nowhere to be found. Nobody knows who you're talking about. You even find his family, and they say that there is nobody by the name of Ludwig van Beethoven in their family. Beethoven never existed. But you have all of his sheet music with you. It's in your bag. He has to exist. You panic. You can't bear the thought of a world without Beethoven's music. And then it hits you. You have all of his work with you. You copy out all of the concertos and all of the symphonies, and you publish them. You become Beethoven. And history goes on as normal. But that begs the question. Who put all of those notes together? Who really wrote Beethoven's Fifth? See, the paradox comes when an object, person, or piece of information travels backwards in time and becomes the cause of itself, creating a time loop. Another example of this is in Futurama, when Philip J. Fry went back in time and became his own grandfather.
If she's my grandmother, who's my grandfather? Isn't it obvious? You are!
No, this is not the grandfather paradox. That's a whole other can of worms. The question for this paradox is, where did that object, person, or piece of information originate from? Itself? Nothing? How can that make sense? For the sake of the letter,
Matter cannot be created. That is true.
Before we continue, I'd like to tell you guys that I've created a new channel. Over there, I solve puzzles and play other niche computer games. I'll be releasing 5 videos over on that channel alongside this one. So if that's something you're interested in, I'll leave a link down below. Right, back to the video. Is time travel even possible? Going forward, I'm going to be talking about general relativity, so I want to make it clear that I am not a physicist or a scientist, and what I say should not be taken as fact. I have a very rudimentary understanding of these things. I'd probably fall somewhere between here or here on the Dunning-Kruger effect, depending on the day. If you're not familiar with the Dunning-Kruger effect, I suggest you go watch this video by Aperture, or this video by Pursuit of Wonder. Links also down below. Anyways, this video is not for educational purposes. If you find the topics in this video interesting, I implore you to go look into them yourself. These are just things I find very fascinating, and I want to talk about them. This video is not for you, it's for me. So, is time travel possible? Yes, you're traveling through time right now. But is actual time travel possible? Also yes, kinda. So you're familiar with time, yes? If not, this video has probably been very confusing. And you're familiar with space, yes? Like the physical space around you. Well, for a long time, physicists treated them like two separate things. But then Einstein came along and said, kiss! And so now we understand space and time as two sides of the same coin, called space-time. We have 3 dimensions of space and 1 dimension of time. Einstein also said that matter curves space-time. Physical things literally bend space and time around you, and they bend time more than they bend space. So say we have a graph of 1 dimension of space and 1 of time, and you plunk a massive thing like the Earth in there. Well, the mass from the Earth would bend the graph itself, And then as you go in a straight line through time, you also move through space until you reach the massive object. That's what gravity is. It's not a force, it's curved space-time. But curved space-time does more than just create the illusion of gravity. It also affects how quickly you move through time. Time moves slower for your feet than it does for your head. Ever so slightly, and only when you're standing up. If you'd like to learn more about this, then I suggest this video from Vsauce and this video from the Action Lab. But an analogy I came up with while writing the script is, oftentimes people compare time to a river, but I want to expand on that. Time flows like a river, but like a river, not everything flows at the same rate. There might be a rock in the river that slows some of the water down, but not all of it. Similarly, if you're flowing through the river of time and there's a planet in the path, the planet will slow you down through time. There's some flaws with that analogy because boulders bend water outward and mass bends time inward, but hopefully you get the idea. Anyways, you could go hang around a black hole for a bit, and then time around that black hole would be moving very slowly, while time on Earth would be the same. So when you return, everyone on Earth could have experienced years while you only experienced hours. So, traveling forward in time. Well, more like a fast forward. Alright, but is backwards time travel possible? Maybe. Let's bring back the black hole. Black holes are understood to be infinitely dense with a whole load of mass, so they bend space-time like crazy, to the point even light can't escape. Well, now say you get two black holes and say kiss.
Will like a black hole be able to suck in another black hole?
Ooh, good question.
It's not past your bedtime or anything? So, it turns out, while I was in college, there was a graduate student at my college, at my university, whose PhD thesis was on the subject of colliding black holes. And what makes it an extraordinary problem to solve is that the distortion of the fabric of space and time around one black hole also exists for the other black hole. So you have black holes entering each other's event horizons. It's an extraordinary disturbance in the fabric of space and time. But I can tell you that there are people who have recognized what severely distorted space does, what the effect, the severely distorted fabric of space and time. They've studied what effect that has on the passage of time. And it turns out there is a path you can take around two moving black holes that haven't quite collided yet, where you can end up in the past of when you started that journey. So it's backwards time travel, according to calculations from Einstein's general relativity, is enabled by the severely distorted fabric of space and time, such as what you would get with black holes that came in their own proximity.
That's pretty interesting. Perhaps you could bend the river so much that it loops back in on itself. Yippee! Backwards time travel is theoretically possible. Hooray! You just need to get a hold of two black holes and somehow calculate the correct path to take around them and also avoid dying. But you got this. So if that's true, then how can something like the Bootstrap paradox work? It is known that matter cannot be created nor destroyed, so that doesn't work, right? Well, maybe it does. If you look at the universe from above, viewing all four dimensions, that object, person, or piece of information is just always there, moving around in the time dimension. Like water flowing through a water fountain, it is not being created or destroyed, it just always existed. And that sounds crazy, because it is, but the same thing is the case for all matter in the universe. Okay, but if the letter keeps going back over and over again, it will surely age and deteriorate, right? So maybe it's not a perfect loop. Each loop is slightly different, like how the water in a fountain won't take the same path each time it flows through. And then once the letter is ineligible, the timeline will split off. Or maybe the time travel will predict this and make a copy of the letter each time. So is the Bootstrap paradox really a paradox? Yes, it is. But I wouldn't say it's any different from the paradox of the universe itself. To me, Asking where the letter came from would be the same as asking where the universe came from. If the universe always existed infinitely, how can that work? There must be a beginning, a cause, right? It's a paradox. If the universe came from nothing, well, how can something come from nothing? Another paradox. If you believe in a creator, well then, where did that creator come from? Yet another paradox. So yes, the Bootstrap paradox is a paradox, but is the Bootstrap paradox possible? Well, I'd say that since the universe exists, and we are living in it right now, it proves that it is possible. I mean, hey, some people think that the universe is one big Bootstrap paradox itself. The universe creates itself. So, time travel is theoretically possible, and I believe the Bootstrap paradox to be possible. The answer to the question of where that object, person, or piece of information came from is the same answer as where all matter in the universe came from, which is also to say that we don't know. But since the universe is possible, there's no reason to say that the Bootstrap paradox isn't also possible. With that all established, I think it's time that I reveal what this video is really about. This video is not for you, it's for me, Future Cozy. If you are watching this, and you have the ability to time travel in your time, could you please send back instructions on how to do so? To make it easier, you can send them to the day that this video was uploaded, at the first Texas house. You know, we've tried writing letters like this to ourselves before, but I don't know what happened to those, and I certainly don't remember the dates, so I bet you don't either. So I figured I'd put this on YouTube in a more permanent way, so that you're more likely to see this. If you're unable to send back the instructions, could you at least send back a letter or something explaining why? Right, and to all you non-Future Cozies watching this, I want to remind you about my new channel. My goal is to upload weekly videos over there. I'm publishing 5 on the day that this is uploaded, and I have 4 more that are recorded. So if you're interested, there will be a video on the end screen. Anyways, I'll see you earlier. Stay cozy.